Thanks everyone for joining us today. Just a quick important note, today's focus is mostly going to be on a retrospective of what we did over the last 6 months or so. We're really excited to talk about all the different things we've launched, all the new capabilities we've added, and so on. We're deep in planning our next 6 months, so look forward to some updates as we finish that planning. And Julie and I will probably talk a little bit around what that's looked like from a planning perspective, how we're evolving, and we'll go from there. So as mentioned, so today we're really excited to be co-hosting this between myself and Julie. Julie, you want to go ahead and say hi?
Hello, everyone. I am super excited to partner with Patrick on these webinars. Going forward, we're going to host them jointly from both product and engineering. At Auvik, we're a pretty close-knit team. We need each other in order to deliver the best network management products, and so we'll be here together to share information. I hope you're all well and that you're safe and that you are starting to enjoy the warmer weather that we're seeing, certainly in North America. Excited to share with you the information we've got prepared. Let's get to it, Pat.
All right. So I'll let you kick things off, but while we do that, a little bit of a pop quiz. I'd love to see people in the chat guess at what type of computer Julie has in her background today.
Yes,
she's quite proud of it. I
am really super proud of it. Feel free to have a little look-see and see if you know what that is.
Looks like Dwight's already guessed it.
Yeah, it's good to go. I love it. Okay,
awesome.
I'm going to flip us to the next slide there, Pat. Thanks so much. All right, through Q2, we launched and we continue to work on incremental updates on our syslog capability. Recently, we introduced a global summary view so that your syslog configured devices can be seen, and you can see which sites have configured their usage according to the fair usage policy. You can, I think the beta that we have on the go for right now is closed, but it is a beta that allows the ability to archive syslog messages to an Amazon S3 bucket. Amazon S3 is where we started, and I know that we've got some further options that we've been thinking about, and maybe more to come on that. Being able to store things in Amazon S3, this allows you, customers, partners, to store syslog messages over an extended period of time, which really helps on compliance, auditing, and of course, troubleshooting some of those super pesky issues that happen from time to time. The intent here is we'll continue to extend this out, as I mentioned, to other cloud providers. But some more information that maybe in the future. We don't have anything specific in the next 3 months that we're working on for other additional cloud providers. Next big update for syslog, though, will be additional capabilities with alerting. We are working quite iteratively towards some milestones that involve some larger platform elements from a back-end perspective in the engineering side. But it's those large alerting platform investments that are going to allow us a lot more flexibility, configuration, and in some cases, customization of how you want to receive alerts in the future. That one's still, we're sharing early because we're really excited about it, and we want to bring our customers and our prospects and our partners along that journey with us as we get insight from them, but nothing in the short term for alerting, but definitely in the larger scale and the longer roadmap, we'll see some great things coming for alerting.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. Yeah, on the alerting front, this is definitely a topic that we, as you mentioned, we're iterating a lot on. We are really trying to build out our more than just a V next or kind of a rev on what we've got. We're really looking to really make some substantial changes, aligning more towards incident and ITIL models, and lots more to share once we get a bit deeper in that planning. But it's something we're quite excited about. All right, up next is Power BI. Those of you that haven't seen this, we launched a very, very extensive beta program probably about 6 months ago or so. And as a result of that, we've launched 4 new Power BI reports and templates. So the intention behind these templates is really to provide a really powerful starting point with Power BI. Tons and tons of people are using Power BI or similar tools to combine data sets across many different tools, whether that is endpoint, whether that is ticketing, whether that is Auvik data sources. And understanding you have a lot of other tools and a lot of different scenarios that are in the mix. We tried to introduce some templates that will give you a really strong starting point to leverage a lot of Auvik's data and capabilities. And again, these templates are designed as a starting point, so you can go in, you can open them up, you can customize them, you can extend them, you can do anything you want to them, really. And we've also open sourced them so that the community can also evolve these templates. So the 4 templates that we've introduced that you can kind of see up in the screen here is, the first off is a overall fairly high level summary, call it a QBR style report that goes over all the different types of incidents that we detected and saw over a time span. Going over, inventory overview and just trying to give it a high level overview of what was done and what we saw during a specific time period. As you dived into the other 4 reports, or templates, I should say, they go a lot deeper. So there's also a hyper-focused inventory report that does a really big deep dive on all of the assets that were discovered and managed. There's a NOC style report that is more focused on incidents and issues, looking for problematic types of devices, looking for trends and that type of thing. And lastly, there is more of a performance related report. So this is more of a looking at a capacity, allowing you to do more capacity planning and inject capacity planning style data into some of the other reports you may also be providing. So as I mentioned, the idea here is to really provide a strong starting point. We would absolutely love to hear any thoughts, questions. What else would you love us to start building some templates for? What other problems do you foresee? Not foresee, but what other types of problems do you have on the reporting front in terms of amalgamating data sets and trying to present that to either external or internal stakeholders? So we'd love to hear some feedback on that. And if you're interested in getting started, there's a knowledge-based article that I'll link to towards the end that allows you to get all the information and learn how to get started with these templates.
Oh, device support. It is, device support is such a critical component of what makes Auvik so special. One of the things that we love about our product is that we can simply install the collector, and in a really short period of time, we're already seeing the map render information about the network where we've done that installation. And so being able to detect and understand device information is so incredibly critical. And so we're always working on that. We're always looking to improve how we manage device information. Recently, we brought in some new useful attributes of the devices that we see regularly on networks. And we're bringing in key lifecycle information, specifically including sales and support availability. That helps our customers, it helps you plan technology roadmap for replacement or for disaster recovery plans. And it makes sure that you've got the support that you need and the inventory that you need when you need it. This is now supported on about 10,000 makes and models. And over time, like I said, we're going to incrementally continue to increase that lifecycle information that you see on those devices, but also additional information over time. Last year for Cisco devices, we actually launched an integration that also provides you with recommended software versions and additional software lifecycle information. So we've got this integration that helps you understand a lot more information on a per device basis. That information is not always easily available for all vendors, but we continue to always be on the lookout to be able to provide the most information about the device and its state wherever possible. Maybe something interesting to poll this group about, and please use the chat while we ask this question. Some of the integrations. So the integration that we put in place helps share the lifecycle information. One of the other integrations that we've been evaluating is actually being able to render a stock image of the device. So what that device actually looks like, in person. would you find that helpful? Like if you were looking at a device inside your Auvik network and you saw a stock image of what that device physically looks like, is that helpful to you? Is it something that you'd like to see? How would that benefit you? Maybe it would be helpful on a dashboard or in other ways. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And I'm sure that Pat will actually go into details later about our ideation portal and how important it is for us to get information and insight from the most important people who are using this software. And so we really appreciate the insight that you can provide there.
Awesome.
If we flip to the next slide, I would love to talk about some of these big names here. So we heavily invest in reducing the effort that it takes our engineering team and of course our support organization time to add new devices so that they're recognized. We're not all the way there yet. It's still a work in progress, but we're really starting to see some key benefits as a result of the work that we did in the last quarter. This quarter, we added FortiLink support. That's new vendor-specific management, and it's a feature that's commonly used in larger Fortinet deployments. Sonic OS 7 support, Cisco Viptela, and of course, the ability to perform FTP backups over a NAT or any network configuration where you need to provide a custom address to return that to the collector. And so some big improvements here and just some call outs that we wanted to make while we're here. Any other updates on device support from your side, Pat?
Not in terms of what we did in Q2. I think we'll mention it a little bit later, but as Julie was talking about, we've been very much focused on making it easier and faster for our developers and our support organization to add device support so we can really ramp up the investment and really go fast on this. One of the longer term outcomes there as well is extending that into everybody. So we would love to get into a point where, we obviously really value our out of box experience and making sure that we, save everyone time by automatically discovering, automatically identifying and monitoring these types of devices. But there's always going to be scenarios where we're not going to be able to get to something as fast as you'd like us to. Though we strive to do that as much as possible, but we want to be able to allow you to extend the platform as well. So that's a little bit of longer term roadmap. Yeah, so I'm just going to pause really quick. A couple of quick comments. Some good discussion around Power BI and BI as a whole. I'd love to hear some other thoughts towards the end of this as to what other BI tools you're using if Power BI is not what you're leveraging internally, or if you're looking at other BI tools. Love to take a look at that. We'd love to make some templates for other tools as well if that's of interest. And looks like a resounding yes on device pictures would be awesome. That is that's absolutely great to hear. A couple of really interesting use cases around taking on new sites, new customers, new locations, being able to actually find the equipment and kind of look and get a feel for what it looks like. And some comments around seeing the back of it too, see what ports it has. So great, definitely some great discussion here.
Yeah, that was a great comment by Tony to see the back, right? To see the back of all of the devices. Great suggestion. Love it.
Yeah, and you know what, Roger's corrected us a little bit here on the FortiLink side of things.
Yeah.
So we've predominantly seen FortiLink deployed. We predominantly see FortiLink leveraged in larger deployments, but I think Roger's got a great point that FortiGate and FortiSwitch, the leveraging the new FortiLink is far more pervasive than that. I guess the comment from a larger deployment is probably more where we see things, but I think Fortinet's been developing that technology significantly. So I think we're going to see that pretty much everywhere going forward. So excited to hear what people think in terms of our FortiLink support. We'll have some knowledge bases up on that either last weekend or this weekend. I've lost my sense of time, unfortunately.
Thanks for the correction there, Roger. Appreciate that. Pat, are we going to talk about SSO?
We absolutely are. So I think late last year we launched SSO, meaning that giving the ability to, if you have an authentication provider like Okta, OneLogin, etc., to be able to pair us with them so that we can leverage them for authentication reasons. So after launching that, we spent probably the first 4 months of the year or so migrating all of our authentication over to our new authentication platform. So now that that's done, we're starting to see some of the benefits of having everything on a next-gen authentication platform. So, some of the shorter-term benefits that you have seen or you will see is being able to log into any of the Auvik tools that support SSO, being able to log in just with your Auvik product credentials. Right now, that is our ticketing platform and our ideation platform that we'll talk about shortly. And we're also looking at extending that into our training platform soon. And longer term, this will also power things like in-app subscription management and more. So that's one of those things that's going to start unlocking more and more value as we continue. So I just mentioned their idea portal there, and I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about that. We launched the idea portal. Again, I've lost my sense of time. I believe it's about a month and a half or so ago. I'm sure Ashley will correct me in the chat if I'm wrong. But we've seen some phenomenal engagement. Like, we've seen lots of partners and customers logging ideas. We've seen people communicating back and forth and providing feedback to one another. That is really turning into kind of leveling up some of the ideas that are being presented, and really encompassing more and more use cases, so that, oh, Ashley says I'm right. Thanks, Ashley.
What happens?
And so these ideas are really morphing and growing, and I'm loving the community engagement. So as we start looking at bringing some of these ideas into our roadmap, we have so much extra context. We have some great people to talk to, so that's been phenomenal. The product team has also been reviewing and responding to ideas, but another great benefit here is Julie's team. So some of the actual developers have been perusing through it and looking for quick wins that we can inject into kind of our already fairly heavily planned release cycles. But if there's quick wins that we can find an opportunity for, that's fantastic. And her development team have actually been proactively looking through it and looking for some of these things, which is awesome. In this idea portal, I think we got a great mix of ideas that kind of range from really small to really big. A lot of the larger ones are going to be more dependent on some of the platform investments that Julie was kind of alluding to, but we're looking at every single one as they come in, and we'll absolutely share some more updates on the roadmap and how those things, how we see some of these things coming together in a future session. However, we keep the statuses updated very, very diligently. So as you can kind of see, we can see some of the statuses moving over to shipped, and we'll actually move them into different states. So if you want to take a look at our ideas portal, it's just ideas.auvik.com, and you can see what ideas are there. You can vote on them. You can comment on them. It's super, super awesome. And as Ashley is mentioning in the chat, there's at least one or two or maybe even three ideas where engineering was actually having a conversation back and forth with the requester, came up with a really quick win, and that's actually transformed into getting it delivered. Some of the quick wins that we've already identified via the portal, we've already launched, is we've introduced the ability to dismiss multiple alerts in the open alerts view. Fantastic idea. It seems so obvious, but it's one of those things that when you look back, you're like, oh wow, not sure how that button wasn't there, but it's a great use case and it was a great quick win. We also changed the default view of the packet loss, to packet loss rather, on the internet connection check. Makes it far more meaningful, far more valuable. And in this upcoming release, I don't think the release notes have shipped just yet, but we've also snuck one into this coming release on the ConnectWise integration, where you'll be able to map the most recent sync date over to manage. That allows you to quickly look in managed and identify stale devices if there are any. So lots of great examples, lots of great engagement, and I'd strongly encourage everyone to check that out if you get a chance to. Yes, moving into the technology partnership side of things, our TPP, our program, I should say, has seen some great additions over the last couple of months, and also a couple of quick updates. We've following some of the trends that the industry is seeing in the DevOps world, we're seeing more and more service organizations starting to adopt a tool that assists with their notification workflows. So, for all your different monitoring tools, how do you put them into one source? How do you manage escalation teams or escalations and who to page when, and all those types of things. Some of the service management tools out there have these capabilities, but we're seeing quite a few people looking to integrate with things like PagerDuty, OpsJunie, PagerTree. We use some of those tools internally for our own team. And so the incident escalation and incident workflow management has been an area of focus. So we've worked with the 3 vendors here mentioned to bring in some integrations, and love to hear any other integrations that you'd love for us to reach out to. And last but not least, with the launch of SSO, we've been working with authentication providers to really simplify the pairing with Auvik. So in addition to One Login and Duo, which we launched, I believe, towards the tail end of last year and a couple months ago, we've also added Okta support. You'll typically find us in the app catalogs for these solutions if you're looking for us. Looks like Ronnie's looking for alert ops, so we'll definitely take a look at that. We'll see if we can reach out to them. Or if you have a contact, feel free to send them over.
Jeff is actually looking for break gauge as well. That's what they use.
Yeah, Jeff, I'd love to maybe hear about that offline, in terms of where you could see that integration going. BrightGauge is the one that built the integration with us. We've exposed a lot of great data, but we'd love to have a conversation as to how you'd like that integration enhanced. Passly for login. So this is great feedback. Keep it coming.
Yes.
All right, I believe this is back to you, Julie.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. I think that I'm pretty excited to talk about this one. So out of the box, Auvik is really easy to install. Windows installer is just a quick installation. Although there were some barriers in making it simple. Previously, our Windows installer was, a lot of command line, go to this window, go to that window. And it was clearly a product built by engineers for IT people. And really, really good investments here to invest in some usability and create a single space to get everything installed and logged in and connected. And so we've made quite a few additions and updates to the overall Windows installer experience. It is a breeze. It's always been a breeze, but it's even breezier now to deploy the collector to Windows. And we've introduced some new wizards and some guides to help people installing the collector for the first time get started on discovering their first network. So some big improvements there that we've made, definitely taking a more usability approach to a lot of the work that we're doing, Pat. Maybe you want to just briefly talk about some of the investments we've made on the UX side of the house.
Yeah, absolutely. The UX of Auvik has always been something we've been very proud about, but we are trying to bring it to the next level. So in my team, we're starting to build out a very, very strong user experience team and injecting them very early on in the process. Product management's actually handed over a lot of the solutioning responsibilities over to user experience. So we can talk about it shortly around our planning process, but a big evolution of our planning process is moving more to bringing problems to the smartest people at the table. And user experience is a really big key part of that, and engineers as well. So we're adding quite a few people to the user experience team. So I'm excited to see how this helps us evolve our journey.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's such a good investment to make the tool easier to use and more intuitive, right? We want network management to be easy. That's the point of Auvik, and having a non-intuitive tool doesn't really match well with that vision. And so I think some really great investments here, making it easier for our IT friends. I'd love to talk about some of the back end stuff, Pat, but I'll be capped, I'm sure, at this next slide. But there's some noteworthy things that we've been doing behind the scenes and some of our architecture that I'd love to chat about. Security is obviously top of mind. We've increased the security of our data at rest for traffic insights and syslog. We are now sitting at AES 256, which aligns with the rest of our product data. To help provide support with some of our technology partners, we are adding a dismiss alert API to allow for bi-directional integrations. We've got pretty great documentation, API documentation on our website, and it's on our website. Yes, Pat?
Yep.
Yes, it's on our website. And so certainly encourage you to go in and gobble up that information, and feel free to ask if you've got further questions. We've also improved identification. It's for a really broad series of devices ranging from Aruba APs, improved Windows mapping, and Dell N4000 series, Neptonics, VeloCloud, and so many more. The list continues to grow there. And
Zyzel's how you pronounce that.
What was that?
Zyzel's how you pronounce that.
Oh, Zyzel. Yeah, I just skipped that one because I wasn't even going to try. And then lastly, well, not really lastly, but the last one that I'm going to talk about here is we've automatically subscribed all super admins to our status page, status.auvik.com. Anybody can subscribe to it. But we've done this to make sure that at least one contact per company is provided updates on our scheduled or unscheduled downtimes. Those are all published in real time. And if you aren't following it, then we certainly do encourage you to follow status.auvik.com as a customer. We have a lot of other really great architectural things that are happening, evaluating some really modern tech, and just looking at scale for some of the services that we have as a whole in engineering. It's pretty exciting times in engineering at Auvik right now, that's for sure.
All right. So that pretty much wraps up what the first 6 months of this year has looked like, which has been a very exciting thing. Julie, I'm going to put you on the spot to potentially answer this question. But, I think one of the other things that outside of the product, the outcomes, I guess, perspective from what people are seeing, do you want to maybe just talk about, the engineering investment throughout the year and all the amazing hiring you've done?
Absolutely. So maybe I'll just take a quick moment here to talk about something that we think we do different at Auvik as it relates to the engineering department and our collaboration with the product team. Certainly on the expansion side, we have increased our headcount in engineering by 20 people, which is really exciting. It's a really good growth that's happening in the organization, which means more developers means more hands on keyboards, which means more product getting into the hands of our customers. That's the point there. But something really interesting that we do at Auvik is we've been working with a product team on kind of reimagining what work delivery looks like from a product and an engineering organization. And as we continue to become more mature in our practices, we've made some really neat changes to the way that we deliver work. Our engineering and our product teams are aligned by product theme now. And so those teams have accountability and ownership for the different pieces of work that they're delivering, different components of our product that we're delivering. And our developers are involved in the solutioning and the outcome in a way that they haven't been before, which is making the solutions that we produce richer and much more on point with the overall user experience that we're intending our customers to have. This is because our developers have a much deeper and better understanding of the pain that our customers and our partners are experiencing. We really do intend to make a tool that makes your lives easier. And I think that the shifts that we've made in an operations model are actually helping us understand the problems that you're experiencing and the pains that you're experiencing better. And I think that results in richer and better solutions that we deliver in the end. So pretty excited about some of the stuff that we've been doing that's less about the technology and more about how we deliver solutions based on the pain and the experiences that you want to have and the advancements that you want to make within your own businesses.
Thanks, Julie. I know I put you on the spot there for that.
That was great. Love it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So last but not least, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this, the focus of this today was really on what we've done this year, where we're and less about necessarily where we're going. We are deep in planning, as Julie kind of just alluded to. We spent the last month or so redoing how we plan and how we approach these things. So we've got lots of work left to do on the planning side, but a bit of a sneak peek into some of the things we are looking at and are working towards. And I just want to maybe provide a bit of a quick teaser on some of that. So the first is we're working on dramatically improving our custom monitoring feature set and experience. So as we alluded to earlier, we've made it, we made it a lot easier for our development team and our support team to add device support or correct device support issues, etc. And we want to really level up our custom monitoring experience over the coming months. So the first milestone that you're going to probably see in the next couple months or so is storing and graphing historical data for custom OID monitoring. That is a part of a much bigger plan that I'm really excited to talk to you guys about once we've finished planning and kind of got our arms around all the experience and usability and this engagement steps for it. Next, that we've already mentioned a little bit is now that we're wrapping up this new device support architecture, we're really looking to ramp up the investment in device support. Julie's mentioned a couple that we did in Q3 or Q2 rather. We're looking to ramp up that investment significantly over the coming months. Now that we've made it a lot easier for our development team to add device support. So look forward to quite a few new makes, models, vendors supported. I'll answer some of the questions in the chat shortly. Device support is always a fairly hot topic. And lastly, we're experimenting with it's called maybe like a cheaper and lighter site type for either your smaller locations, smaller sites, or sites where you primarily need documentation versus very in-depth monitoring. So we're very early on in this, so no specifics to go over at this time. But if you're not monitoring some of your smaller sites, but you're looking for additional visibility or additional documentation, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Love to involve you in this journey. We're just trying to see what we can provide for some of the sites that aren't necessarily managed or monitored today. We know that those blind spots cause a lot of challenges, especially when you're troubleshooting or when you're being audited. So we're just trying to figure out what a good price and package looks like there. So we'd love to hear some thoughts about that. And I think that's pretty much it. So we'll probably go to questions and answers at this point. I think Julie, I think you wanted to maybe chat about maybe go back to the question we opened up with what's behind you. You want to just chat about that quick?
All right, I think I do want to
chat. It's evolving on the fly here, which is fantastic.
That's great. So Dwight, Kirk, Tom, David, love the exclamation point there. Love the excitement. I messaged Ashley offline and she confirmed that we can throw some Auvik t-shirts at you guys. You all guessed correctly. It's a pet behind me. If you don't know much about the pet, this was actually, I believe, this is a 2001 series, which I think was dubbed like the teacher's pet. Back in, oh gosh, I want to say the 70s, early 80s, Commodore actually managed a whole pile of the Canadian education industry. It was like 86% of computers that were used in schools were Commodore PET, and so it is a pet. It does work. It has required just a little bit of resoldering of its inner parts, but it is one of those cool models that kind of the front lifts up like it's a car hood, and so yeah, that's it's a pet. So t-shirts coming to all the people who participated there and took a guess at what it was. Thanks for that.
Awesome. All right, so I guess we'll move on to some questions. If people want to stick around, we will be here for a little while, so we'll answer as many questions as we can get through. If you have to leave us now, appreciate your time. Loved going through some of these updates with you. As I mentioned earlier, our idea portal is a fantastic place to engage with us. We check it obsessively is probably the right word, and love to continue the conversation there. All right, so maybe we'll just move on to some questions here. I love Eric's question, who is the most recent question. How do you get into the idea portal? Fantastic question, Eric. This is like a stage queued question. I love it. So the easiest, we can go ahead and send you the direct link. Ultimately, it's ideas.auvik.com, and you'll log in with your existing product login. Thanks, Ashley. So Eric said, I've sent dozens of ideas. Will you see them there? Some of them you will, some of them you will not. We've migrated over to this platform fairly recently, so we are still backporting some of the ideas. Most, I don't want to say all of them are there, but a good part of them are there, and we'll continue to do that. But if there's anything missing, Eric, that is particularly burning, feel free to log it there, and we can make sure it gets linked up appropriately. So I guess quite a few questions around device support. A couple more specifically, like some questions around HP Arubas, the cloud managed ones, I should say, Juniper Mist, and others. So, I think both of those are pretty interesting ones because those ones, you can't get a lot of information using the traditional network protocols, so SNMP and otherwise. You're having to do cloud integrations to pull that data back. I don't know if you want to add any color to this, Julie, but the FortiLink and FortiNet FortiLink launch that we did, we built it in a way that is going to make it a lot easier for us to introduce new cloud managed integrations. So we don't have those two ones particularly planned right now because we haven't gone through the entire prioritization of exercise of which ones will go next. But Juniper Mist, we definitely get the request a fair bit. There is an idea on that already, so if you want to just upvote that, that'll help us out there. But it is one of the things that's definitely on our radar. And Aruba APs, similar situation, very much on our radar. That's one of the ones we're actively tracking. And as I mentioned, we've with the FortiLink work, we've made it significantly easier and faster for us to build cloud managed and cloud integration. So hopefully we can accelerate some of these things. A question came up around, can you use Auvik with Microsoft 365/Azure AD? Absolutely. There's some documentation we can point you towards for setting up SSO. We definitely support them. They're one of the big ones that we wanted to add support for. I think.
Hey Pat, what about a virtual network in VMware host? Carl was asking, can you monitor virtual network in VMware host?
Yeah, I think Carl, it'd be good to maybe dive a little deeper as to what you'd like to see in terms of kind of what experience you'd like and what problems you'd like to solve for there. We're right now our monitoring is mostly focused on the ESX boxes themselves and less about the V networks. But as we look at that, and as we look at Azure and et cetera based cloud, SaaS or infrastructure as a service based networks, virtual networks, I'd love to hear your feedback as to some of the things you'd like for us to do there. It's not something we're planning on going very deep on in the short term, but we'd love to hear more feedback on that.
Did you see Jeff's question?
Yeah, he's alluding to our roadmap at this point. Quantum, monitoring quantum computers that runs antimatter reactors. That is one of our top feature requests. So 100%. Jeff, we're cat's out of the bag, I guess, at this point, but we're looking to enhance our monitoring there.
Worst kept secret, Pat. Worst kept secret on that one. If that upvote is all I can suggest. Using the idea portal, upvote. Yeah, especially for the devices that that really does help provide guidance and insight to the engineering organization and Bitminer, yeah, as well. Thanks, Craig.
Awesome. I think that covers most of the questions. So we'll stick around for a little bit longer if anyone wants to chat, get nerdy about some of these topics. We're absolutely here to do that. But otherwise, again, if you want to drop off now, go ahead. And thank you very much for your time. We love sharing this information, and we're going to continue to do so on a regular basis.